Hello, everybody. Welcome into the Money Stop. Happy Monday night. It is 7 o'clock here on the East Coast. We are kicking off another episode of the Money Stop here. I am once again joined by my co-host Laner.
Hello, everybody. Nice to be back.
Hello. Um, we have some pretty interesting stuff to talk about tonight. Um, no guests. Just want to preface that now. It's just us this week, and you'll have just you'll have just us for this week, and hopefully, maybe we'll be bringing on a guest next week. But for tonight, we have some pretty good stuff to talk about. I'm pretty excited for our topics that we have on this list. So, um, yeah, I mean, let's get started. I know this past week I've been sick as a dog, to be honest with you guys. I've been like down for the count for a few days. I don't know what I had, either the flu or a cold or something. But crazy. I'm on the up end now, but just happy that we are filming an episode that I am not actively sick because I did not have my voice either for a few days. So yeah, with that out of the way though, let's get down to business. Let's talk about Daytona. So Daytona took place this past weekend. We held our episode last week talking all things Daytona. Now we are onwards into the chase. Daytona's behind us now. Um, I will hand it off to you, Laner, maybe just to talk about some initial thoughts on what you thought of the racing overall, and then we can kind of dive in, I guess, from there on different points in the race.
Yeah, I wasn't too impressed with the racing personally. I kind of expected more from it. We really weren't ever able to get a second groove going consistently. You could kind of get people cleared if you lined up on the backstretch, but it was pretty much just a single bottom groove dominant track, typical to the old game. But yeah, I don't know. I kind of was just hoping that it would be a little bit better than it was, but it wasn't terrible. I guess it was decent. So I guess what more can you really want from um, super speedway racing and ROCAR? It was just kind of a typical super speedway race, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I know that you and I were chatting a bit just before we came on the air, and um, you were saying that like the way that the cars were just racing around each other was not like how we've typically seen with the old cars and how the old game operated. So, I mean, I guess it leaves the door open for some room to be worked on with these cars at the super speedways. I don't know if you would agree with that sentiment or that statement, but
Yeah, we'll definitely have to put some work in and time for the 500 next season. We got quite a bit of time to do that, so I feel pretty confident we'll have something going in time for Talladega next season.
yeah, and I mean, I obviously wasn't in the race. It's becoming an every week thing now for at least the most part, at least for right now. But um, I would say like I just from what I've seen, I did see some parts of the race as it was going, more so in the beginning. Um, but I wasn't that much of a fan either. Um, but I mean, just to give a little grace, I mean, I guess you never really know until you try on how it's going to be. Um, so I guess this was a good testing grounds for how the cars were going to perform. I mean, I wonder how it's gonna be like at tracks like Talladega, or other super speedways that sometimes we go to. But I wonder how the cars would perform there, or if there needs to be any tweaks to the package for the cars to perform better at a track like Daytona.
Yeah, It's tough to say like with the new cars, because this really was like the first super speedway race that we had with them,
Hmm.
so it was kind of like a learning experience. But I don't really know like I don't know exactly like what we could do. I think the cars need to be a little bit tighter in
Hmm.
general because they're a little bit squirrely in the draft, um, and they need to be able to take pushes better, like in a pack, because it seems like we had like an accordion effect, like it would just kind of mess up the whole line anytime we got several people pushing at once.
Yeah.
So it was a little bit goofy at times, but I didn't think it wasn't terrible. Like it was okay. It just wasn't as good as the old game, in my opinion.
Yeah, something was lacking a little bit, but again, something that can be tweaked and worked on, and hopefully by the 500, we'll have it figured out. I Something I would want to see down the road is consistent double file racing. And I feel like in the old game, I don't know, I feel like we were able to make it work in the old game, at least for maybe a full lap or two. And the racing was like phenomenal when it was two lanes, and you could kind of switch back and forth, or make passes through the 2 lane process. But like with these cars, just what I've seen during the race so far is that it's only 1 lane, and nothing else is working when you're trying to form a second lane. So I hope that in the future, that is possible with these cars and in this game.
Yeah, I feel like that's something that we've tried to do for quite a while, even in the old cars, and we've never like consistently been able to do it.
Mhm.
Um, so hopefully, yeah, hopefully we can brainstorm some ideas. There's definitely some ideas out there like draft bonuses in the top lane, or I don't know, just kind of out of the box ideas like that that we could try to get the top group going a little bit better. But um, we'll just have to wait and see what we can come up with on that end.
Yeah. Something else I want to talk about is the finish, because I know the finish was quite controversial, or at least had people talking behind closed doors. So I'm going to put the finish up at least on the screen now for everybody to see. And Laner, if maybe you just want to go through the decision, I guess in those final laps, what was going through your head kind of as the race came down to the finish, and as you saw the finish as is, um, what you thought of it, and kind of what was the decision like behind closed doors.
So yeah, I mean, it was kind of an easy decision because if you watch the replay, we felt that Kregus was forced down below the yellow line. I mean, even Lego admitted that he pretty much just hooked him there. I don't think it was intentional by Lego, but I mean, the result was still the same.
Yeah.
Whenever Kregus got hooked and went below the double yellow line, he continued to drive through the grass onto pit road, and he finished first. I know that there were certain people in the league that were not very happy with that decision, but it seems like the only people that were upset with that decision were the ones that would have benefited from it.
Yeah.
If that doesn't tell you if it was the right decision or not, I don't know. Um, I I'm not saying they don't have any right to be upset, but like I truly think we made the correct decision. And we have a group of people on the board that look over these things. So yeah, and Kragus isn't my teammate. He's not Lego's teammate. Like there's people on the board that don't care if Kragus wins the race. So I can guarantee you there was no bias there. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think we came to the best decision possible. It was kind of a tough decision, I will say. It's kind of hard to see like with the cars, but I don't know. The hitboxes are a little bit ahead of the car too. So like if whenever you're watching the finish, they kind of make contact before Lego's car is like actually on his bumper, but that's mostly just because the hitbox is a little bit ahead of the car. So yeah, I don't know. I think we made the right decision, but anytime you make a major decision like that, especially when it comes to deciding a winner, there's going to be people that are upset with it. So that's just how it goes.
Yeah, and as you finished, the race was kind of finishing up, so letting the finish play on stream now. But just to kind of give a rundown of what happens, here I'll rewind it. So Lego gets into Craigus, and Craigus goes for a slide down pit road. Um, and Benji and Lego are coming to the finish line, but Craigus still finished first, and he was not on the racing surface. He was on pit road, so um, technically, even though he crossed the line first, um, the win was handed to Benji. Um, I think you guys made the right call. To be honest, because think about like in real life, if that ever happens, like that doesn't happen. Like you don't give the win to somebody that is on pit lane or gets spun out onto pit lane. Um, it just doesn't happen. I I think too, like you are considered like on pit lane. You're not on like when you're making a pit stop during the race. You're not factored into the timing intervals that you're far from the leader or like how far you are from the leader. So you're kind of like removed from the equation. Um, so like the fact that he was still even, or I guess he thought he was still even in the equation, was crazy to me. But I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's I don't know. That's just how these super speedway races go sometimes, and
Yeah,
it's kind of funny that both of our super speedway races have ended very controversially. Well, I guess the first one wasn't really controversial. It was just more of like who the hell won, because we had three cars stuck together coming to the finish. But yeah, I don't know. It is what it is, I guess.
yeah, and I mean like it's definitely something to think about in terms of like going forward in a situation where that happens. Like maybe an addition in the rule book or you know um, like a clause or something that automatically kind of like eliminates a long discussion about who wins the race, um, just maybe something to think about. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
um,
there's I don't. We've thought about for a long time of getting like a better replay system in the game. Maybe like even SMT data, which would help us a lot with figuring out like what exactly happened, like with each of the cars. But I mean, as for right now, we don't have any of those luxuries, so we're kind of just stuck with the replay angles that we got, and
yeah,
that's just we can only use our best judgment in that situation.
I think it would be good to put in a camera system too, maybe around like each track. I think it would just be good. So that way, because, Aiden is doing much of the heavy lifting with recording, and sometimes it's like, it's hard just because you're missing a lot of the battles either in the back or, um, like, I don't know, but I've noticed that the last few weeks, like with the stream, like the flag commands, like the commands bar kind of gets in the way of like viewing the cars and your
Yeah,
positions and stuff. So I wonder if there's like a way to either minimize that or like at least put the flags on the main like screen for like an admin um to make it easier for them. I don't know. But because I know the screen is already like there's already a lot on the screen as is. So it probably be um easier said than done. But, you know, to at least be able to see the full finish, I think maybe a camera system would be beneficial too in terms
yeah, I
of the
agree.
additions. But
I
um,
completely agree.
all right, shall we move on? I don't think I had anything else to talk about in terms of Daytona.
Yeah, I didn't really have anything else. It was just typical chaotic Daytona race.
Yeah.
I do want to just mention that Parker ended up on his roof though. He did flip. So
Oh.
um, yeah, so we had a flip in the Daytona race, and then I flipped in the Iowa race. So we've had
Huh.
flips 2 races in a row right now.
Wow. At Iowa?
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I flipped at Iowa.
That's crazy.
My screen literally went black. I could not like the car was covering up my camera. I could not see anything. It was kind of
uh,
crazy.
well, I'm glad everybody's okay. Daytona makes more sense, but the fact that it happened at Iowa too is crazy. Maybe something
Yeah.
to, maybe something to keep an eye out for this weekend coming up. So we'll get into Iowa for this weekend a little later in the show, but for now we're going to move into the points. Just a quick update, quick look at the points as we head into week one of the chase. As a reminder, the points reset. So, um, everybody got up to about 300 ish points at the end of the regular season, or 600 points, something like that, ranging from 3 to 600 points. Um, but everybody got up to a couple hundred points, and they've now reset. So, you can see the order on your screen, very tight down at the bottom. They're only a point apart, so those points may very well move in terms of just what happens after this weekend coming up. But I mean, in all honesty, it's not really like land, does not have that big of a gap anyway to Parker. It's only a 24-point gap. So, I mean, it's not really that big of a gap. So, I like, I honestly think that it's going to make accumulation of points and stage points and stage wins like all the more important, just to ensure that like maybe if you don't win the race, it's important more than not to try and rack up as many points as possible, because if I was seeing how close I was to everybody else in those points, I would not feel comfortable at all. Because if you like, let's say, like because I know that this has happened. If you wreck out on like a stage, the stage like couple laps before the stage end, or a couple laps coming to the finish, or all three, like where you get wrecked out and you don't really earn points at all. Well, then you're sitting at the bottom, and either you're out of it or you just have the biggest hole to make up. Um, so either way, like, with making up points, it's going to be very important these next few weeks, I think, as we kind of wind down the season here at the end. But um, yeah, that's mostly what I'm observing, is how close those points are right off the bat.
Yeah, yeah, I completely agree, and I kind of mentioned that last week that I really don't think anybody's out of it. Like 24 points, so like that's a nice little cushion, but that could be away in one race if you really had a bad race. So yeah, it's I wouldn't feel comfortable. I think it puts more pressure on myself, Benji, and Parker to go perform right away. Like if we don't have a good race at Iowa, we're gonna really be in must-win territory almost. But um, I don't think anybody's out of it, and I've kind of been saying that the past few weeks. Like I don't really think that anybody has such a big advantage that they've already won the championship.
Yeah. Um, I mean, also too, I mean, these tracks coming up too, we don't really know how, or like what we're going to expect. I mean, even Iowa this weekend, um, you know, Land has won a lot of races at Iowa, but this is a new configuration, new car, and it's a brand new challenge for that team. So, they're kind of in the unknown as well. Um, you know, just not really knowing what to expect. Iowa has been one of those races too, where it's always been a pack race, um, along with most of the other races, but it's mostly been a pack race at the other configuration and with the other game. So with it spreading out, I really am curious on how it's going to shake things up this weekend. And then you got tracks like the Milwaukee Mile coming up and Chicagoland, which are challenges in themselves. I mean, the Milwaukee Mile is fun, but you know, it's a challenge. All these tracks are a challenge coming up. So I'm really excited to see some of these races unfold and play out, um, and see if there's any surprises in there.
Yeah, well, I mean, only two of the tracks in the chase have even been ran in these cars ever, which are I'm trying to think. Milwaukee Mile was ran in the preseason, and Las Vegas, which is the
Yeah.
finale, was ran earlier this season. Um, but trying to use the preseason as a measuring stick to where you're going to be at it. I just don't think that that's really a good idea, because from what we've done so far, the way the tracks raced in the preseason has been completely different than what we see when we revisit the track. Because a
Yeah.
lot of changes have been made to the cars since the preseason, and a lot of these tracks are just racing completely different whenever we visit them again. So
Yeah.
I think Milwaukee is a brand new racetrack compared to when we visited there. Like, it's been like 2 months now. So um, really, there's only one track that we can confidently say that we kind of know what to expect, and that's Las Vegas. Other than that, I mean, it's completely wild card every week, which makes the
Yeah.
chase a lot more compelling because we really have no idea what to expect.
Yeah. And I think it'll be exciting too because just watch these points fluctuate over the next few weeks. Land is atop the points lead right now, but Kregus is only 3 points behind him. So, I mean,
Hmm.
he could be up there, or both of them could slip, and Land and Kregus could fall behind Lego. Lego takes the point lead or splits them up. Um, anything's possible right now. So, I do want to point one thing out that I was very sad to see is that you broke your top five streak. I was
Yeah,
very sad to see
I
that.
was upset about that as well. But I had a top five streak going the whole regular season a few seasons ago as well, and it
Yeah,
also broke during the regular season finale. So for whatever reason, I just can't keep it going till the regular season finale. But I still think it had a good run. I don't know off the top of my head, but I would say that that's probably tied with my other one for like the longest top five streak in ROCAR, because I don't know if anybody else has done that. Lego could probably correct me. He's like the stat guy, but I don't know. It was a good run, but it had to come to an end at some point.
yeah. Well, I mean, to be quite honest, too, um, it was going to be hard to keep that going, because as you build more, it just becomes more of a challenge, and there's more pressure to keep the streak going. But I mean, still, I mean, the streak that you have is incredible for the season. So I mean, it's definitely something to be proud of, and all you can do is at least finish strong. So
Yeah, I mean, we
um,
have as good of a shot as anybody right now, so
yep,
I'm gonna keep fighting until I'm out of it.
yep, there you go. Um, what was I gonna say? Let me see. I don't know. I guess there was nothing else really in the points that I wanted to talk about, but just something that I guess we'll keep an eye on because now is like really when we'll have to pay attention to the points. Right now is anybody's game, but like hopefully by next week or the following week we'll be able to get more of a look kind of at who has a better shot, I guess, and maybe who's gonna have more of an uphill battle. I mean, Parker only has 2 points. That is like one of my main concerns because he does not have a win either. Um, for him to get a win at Iowa, I think would be huge, or to just have a very good points day if he can't capitalize on a win. But only having 2 points coming into the chase is very concerning to me. Um, Same with you. I mean, you are only a point above him. I might as well put Benji in that category as well. But like, I feel like the three of you guys need to have a very good points day in order to keep yourself kind of still in contention. Um, because again, it's not like in hindsight, looking from Land to Parker, a 24 point gap is doable, like to make up, but you also need to have a very good day. So if you
Oh
can't
yeah.
have a very good day, then it's just maybe it's not meant to be. But um, have to wait and see.
Yeah, I mean, like 24 points could turn into 50 or 60 if you
Yeah,
don't have a good day. So, like, if you really like leaving Iowa, I think the bottom three need to hope that they keep it within minus 20,
yeah,
or around maybe cut the deficit a little bit. But like, I think if you could leave Iowa still minus 20, you would feel pretty good about that.
oh yeah,
And I mean, Lego he's in a better point situation, but I would say I would say kind of the same for him. He's closer, so he doesn't have as much urgency, but I think he wants to leave Iowa in the single digits. Like if he's leaving Iowa still um, m- m- double digits, I mean, I feel like there was some stuff left on the table there, you know. So
yeah,
um, for Lego's team, I think you want to try to get into the single digits, and for the bottom three, I think you just kind of want to just do what you can and don't lose more of a gap. Try
yeah,
to kind of stay where you're at, in my opinion.
yeah. Another thing too is like capitalizing on other people's mistakes. So like if Land has a really bad pit stop under green, or Craigus does, it's a really good chance for some of those guys below those two maybe to jump above and get some points on them, depending on if it's like at the end of the stage or at the end of the race. I feel like these next several weeks are going to be when people make their most gutsiest calls, I think. So I think like it's now or never. You gotta try anything you can to either win a race or to try and just grab some stage points. So I hope people will take into consideration of the opportunities that are handed to them if somebody else makes a mistake. Um, but some people just it doesn't dawn on them as fast as it should, I guess. So
Yeah, and I mean, like, I think that's kind of like something that we've talked about. I'm gonna pick on the 11 team, but like it's something we talked about with Craigus all season. Is like he's been so fast, but he keeps making mistakes. But it's
mhm,
like the saving grace for that team, or really any team, is you got a clean slate now.
yeah,
Like Craigus had such a good regular season, but he kind of fell off at the end. Um, and now he's only 3 points behind Land. Like, if you want to go win a championship, you got to be perfect these last 6 weeks. You cannot make mistakes like that during the playoffs. Like, one mistake like that is just going to kill you because you do not have the time to make it up. Like, in only 6 weeks, if you get into a big points hole, you're just not going to have enough time to get out of it. Um, so everything is going to be magnified. Like, can't be speeding on pit road. You can't get caught in other people's mistakes. Like, you just got to be perfect. And sometimes you just aren't lucky, you know? Like, maybe you'll get caught up in somebody else's wreck, or somebody will bump you out of the way and you'll lose all your track. Like, there's just so many unknowns, but like, it the person who wins this championship is going to have a perfect 6 races. I feel like. I
yeah.
mean, maybe they'll have one bad race, but like I really think it's going to take near perfect execution for 6 races to get it done.
And I was thinking about this while you were talking, but there is also a new stage format for stage points um, that was announced this past weekend. So, um, an announcement was put forward the other day that going forward, the stage points will be switched to the top three drivers gaining stage points on a 5, 3, and 1 point scale. So three drivers will not earn points, three drivers will. And then a most laps led bonus will be given out, resulting in 3 points. So kind of an incentive to the driver who can lead the most laps. But um, yeah, I think that part is going to play a big factor into it as well, because it'll entice those bottom three drivers, not you guys in the points, but like whoever's running in the race who's not earning points, to try and switch up strategy, or to try and run a little harder and ensuring that they try and get points. Iowa can get, I feel like, spread out very quickly. Um, like it might end up being like Richmond a little bit. So, but I think this track is even smaller than Richmond, I believe. So, um,
Y-
you know, if it gets spread out, it's going to get very spread out quick. So it's going to be harder to make up time on the people in front of you. So those guys that are like in fourth, fifth, and sixth in a stage, like, are really going to miss out on the opportunity to get points this weekend. So I would hate to be those guys, but for now, I thought I'd throw that out there since neither of us brought it up yet. But
Yeah, yeah, I'm excited to talk about Iowa whenever we get to it. I think it's
mhm,
going to be a very, very compelling race, and I think it's the perfect track to open the chase. But with only six drivers, and we have 180 laps. I mean, I've been saying this kind of in our team group chat, and I might have said it publicly a few times, but I really would not be surprised if we go caution free. The D2 race was a little bit messy, but we had a lot of new guys in that race, so it's kind of expected. But
yeah,
like with only six drivers, and these are like the six best drivers, I just don't really see like that many incidents happening. I think it's going to get spread out, and I think we're going to have a lot of long green flag runs. So that's
yeah,
just what I'm expecting. I don't want to get too deep into that because I know we're going to talk about Iowa later, but like I think it's really going to be a race where you have to execute perfectly on pit road, on the track, like it everywhere. So I think it's a perfect track to be in the chase. But yeah, with the new format, I one of the reasons that it kind of became a thing was just now that we're in the chase, like it doesn't really make sense for 90% of the field to get stage points. Like if we only have six people racing most of the time, it doesn't make sense for five of them to get stage points. Um, and also it's going to kind of make it harder for people further back to even make up a points gap at all if everybody's getting stage points, you know. So we kind of wanted to make it a little bit more inclusive and or exclusive, I guess, not inclusive. Um, we wanted to make less people get stage points that way. It's harder to get, and you get rewarded for it if you do get them. And we kind of have more of a points parity because more people are going to be missing out on points.
yeah. Um, all very important to take into consideration as we head to Iowa this weekend. But we'll dive into it, kind of as you said before, a little later in the show, because we have some things to talk about with Iowa too, specifically. But for now, we can move on. Um, Something to point out for the next few weeks is we kind of already talked about before, but we have some very interesting tracks coming up that we're heading to. So obviously we're going to Iowa this weekend, as we mentioned. But up next after that, we have the Milwaukee Mile, Chicagoland, Gateway, Martinsville, and Vegas as the finale. Um, are there any tracks that stick out to you, not as a driver, but as a co-host of the show? Is there any tracks, I guess, that pop out to you as one that all the drivers should keep an eye on, or just, I guess keep on their radar for like preparing for, or like putting a little extra time in to prepare for?
I mean, like in terms of difficulty or just like in general?
Um, in general.
Because like I don't really think any of these tracks are too difficult. I will say I think I've done laps on almost all of the chase tracks. I think I've done laps on literally every track in this game just because I have to test them and all that. But I think Gateway seems to be the most difficult to me, and that's one that I'm really interested to see how it plays out. Just because like the track is like pretty much wide open in 3 and 4. It's not like wide open, but pretty much. But then 1 and 2 is like super super tight. So it's like
Mhm.
one end of the track is completely different from the other end of the track. So I'm really excited to see how Gateway goes. Like I think that'll be a really interesting race. And obviously I'm excited for Martinsville. I know in the old game Martinstown was a really big deal and it was a crown jewel, but now it's kind of transitioned over into Martinsville. It's still a crown jewel and it's still a big deal, but we've never really been able to race at Martinsville in the old games. So that's one that I'm really looking forward to because I think a lot of drivers have always wanted to race at Martinsville, which was kind
Yeah,
of why Martinstown was created because we couldn't race at Martinsville. So I'm
yeah,
also looking forward to that one.
yeah. I think when I look at these six tracks, I think Martinsville jumps out to me the most. Just because like the cars, even with Martinstown, like they were crazy. Those races were crazy. So Martinsville, like I can't imagine putting six or however many cars are going to be on track. I can't, can't really predict right now. But um, when you put a bunch of cars on that track, I feel like it's also going to be chaotic. I don't really know. Like I've also ran some laps at Martinsville. I don't really know like how the cars are going to perform there. Um, it's just a lot tighter of a track to navigate, and it's a lot smaller. So have to wait and see. But I think I'm going to keep my eye on that one. I think the rest will be manageable. Even with Gateway, having its differences with the turns, I feel like it's still like people will still find their way. Martinsville, though, is definitely going to be interesting. So I'm looking forward to that race.
Yeah, I mean, I really think like all the tracks are going to be a lot of fun. I really don't think we could have picked six better tracks for the chase.
Mhm.
Um, like on paper, they look amazing. Now, ask me in 6 weeks, I might change my mind because I like it's a brand new game. I have no idea.
Yeah,
But on paper, like Chicagoland seems like it's going to be a ton of fun. We already went to Vegas. It was a great race. Martinsville should be really fun. The D2 race at Iowa was a lot of fun. Gateway, I think, has a lot of potential. Milwaukee was fun in the preseason. So, like, I really think like it's a really good group of tracks. And whenever you look at it on paper, it seems like there are a lot of short tracks, shorter ovals in there. So I kind of wish like we would have gotten more longer tracks, I guess, more parity. But I don't know. I mean, we do have two intermediates, so I think it's a really good group of tracks.
yeah. I hope that there's some inclusions in there next year about or next season about like either a super speedway or a road course. I think would be nice to see in there, just kind of thrown in.
Yeah, I'm not sold on a road course yet, just because of how they are in this car. They're kind of, I don't know, they're a little bit goofy. It seems like, but
Yeah,
maybe in the future, whenever we iron those out a little bit better, a road course would be fun in the chase.
yeah. um all right, well, should we do our champion picks, do you think, or do you want
Uh,
to save
y-
that
yeah,
until
I put that in there. I didn't know if we wanted to do it at this point or wait until the end with our race winner picks, or
I think we wait until the end.
that's kind of what I'm thinking too.
um
Save it for the very end. Make people stick
yeah,
around.
yeah, but we'll do our champion picks this episode, and you'll get to hear our choices for who's going to be champion. Anywho, let's move on to the next thing up here on the money stop, which is our pump the gas hit the brakes segment. Um, we have some fun prompts this week. We only have one ROCAR related prompt, and then the rest are all NASCAR. So just I think you guys will enjoy it. So yeah, but first prompt here is Land will keep his Iowa streak going this weekend. Laner, would you like to start? Pump the gas or hit the brakes?
This is tough. It's really tough just because everybody at Iowa is running like very similar times. Land is up there too. Like he is running around the same times, but like gosh, man, I don't know, like 180 laps. There's going to be green flag pit stops. There's just so much that could happen during this race. I'm going to hit the brakes. I
Okay.
I'm not I think Land could win it. Like I think he'll have as good of a shot as anybody, but with this car, it's just so unpredictable to me. I think Land will have a lot of speed, and I think he will definitely have a shot to win. But I just really don't know what to expect. With everybody running the same lap times, I really think it's going to come down to execution on pit road and who has the best long run speed. And at the moment, I don't know who's going to do that. I think it's really up in the air to me.
Yeah. Um, I'm going to pump the gas. Um, I honestly, I'm a fan of parody, and I like the chaos. So I am going to go the opposite way. Um, yes, all of those things are valid concerns and valid statements, but even with Land coming into the 21 this season, I feel like he still had a great season. He has 3 wins. He is the points leader right now. Um, he's coming to a track where he's had some experience on another configuration, but like I'm sure there are still some similarities for him with his approach to the racing here, um, and he's practicing literally right now. I'm sure he's been putting in laps, and he's going to make sure that he puts himself in a good position to win this weekend. Um, but I don't know, like Land is one of those drivers. I feel like where at least with this season, maybe like you'd least expect him to kind of um or like he wins races in the least expected ways, I think. um he hasn't dominated too much this season, um for starters, but I feel like Iowa is one of those tracks where he tends to dominate. Again, I could be wrong, I could be completely in the unknown about this, but I have a good feeling that he's still going to perform pretty well. Um, so I'm gonna stick with that. I'm gonna hit the gas.
Well, I guess we probably shouldn't have did that prompt because now everybody already knows your race winner pick. But
Well, I don't know about that. I don't know about
well,
that.
I guess you
I
could
could,
change it up. I mean,
yeah, I could be changing it up. I mean, just because I said he may back it up, it doesn't mean he's going to. So,
yeah,
um,
that's
you know,
that's true. I mean, like I said, I think Land will have as good of a shot as anybody. My my main issue with this is that I think everybody is really like taking practice super serious this week with Iowa, with it
yeah,
being the Chase opener. I mean, the lap times, I don't know if people have seen in general. Like they're crazy and they're super close. I guess I since Craig has posted them, it's just public information because it's at our practice session. Just to kind of list, Craigus is the fastest at a 16.467. Myself, Lego, and Land are all tied at a 16.517. So that just shows you like how close these lap times are. I mean,
yeah,
me, Lego, and Land are all tied at the exact same lap time. And Craigus ran a 46. I have no idea how Burr ran a 46. That's insane. Maybe like an illegal jet engine or something. But yeah, like these lap times they're going to be right on top of each other. I really think it's going to come down to who is best in the long run, and like I said, who does the best on and off pit road.
yeah. Um, there's some people pointing out in the chat that we've been mixing up hit the gas or pump the brakes by pump the gas or hit the brakes, but to be honest,
Oh,
I don't think it matters because it's all the same shit
yeah.
anyway. So
Y'all know what we're trying to say.
yeah, exactly. Um, all right. With that being said, let's move on to the next one. Um, the next one here is Hendrick goes back to back at Bristol. The context is Chase Elliott won his first race at Martinsville this past weekend, heading to a track where Hendrick is pretty decent, I would say. Um, Larson is good there. Byron's good there. Um, Chase Elliott is pretty decent there. Um, I would say like their chances are pretty good to go back to back. I would say if it's just me, I'm probably going to um, pump the brakes a little bit, just because I don't really know if I feel confident enough in Hendrick just yet to have winning speed. After all, they've still had four DNF finishes this season. Um, Compared to last year, where I believe at this point in the year they had 4 wins. Fox displayed a graphic, and it really stuck out to me during the race this past weekend. But um, I don't know if I feel confident enough in them yet to like go back to back in winning races or being as consistent as they've been in past years with this next gen car. Um, so I think I'm probably gonna have to pump the brakes.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Mostly, there's two reasons. Number one, I don't have any idea what kind of a race we're getting at Bristol. Is it going to be a heavy tire wear type race? Is it going to be a boring type race where the leader just goes out and leads for 90% of the race like we've seen in the past? You really have no idea what you're getting with Bristol in this car. I mean, it's
Mhm.
just so unpredictable. Um, but even so, no matter what type of race we get, I just don't think Hendrick has shown that type of speed yet. I mean, let's be honest, Chase Elliott shouldn't have even won that race if it
Yeah.
wasn't for an alternate pit strategy. Chase Elliott had maybe a ninth or tenth place car all day. It was a JGR and Penske type of day. I mean, Denny Hamlin dominated that race. Ty Gibbs was running up there, and then Logano and Blaney and Cindric were all up there as well. So, by no means was Hendrick one of the best teams. It was JGR and Penske, and Hendrick was a pretty far distant third from them. So, I mean, they got it done, but I don't think they showed the speed. So, I'm not super confident that they'll be able to do it.
Yeah, I fully agree. I think honestly too, had that pit stop maybe gone a half of a second a different way, um, Hamlin definitely won the race. Or if there was a little bit more lap traffic in the way, like instead of passing one car at a time, I feel like Hamlin definitely would have had a shot or more of a shot. Um, I guess there just wasn't enough time or lap traffic to make up the deficit to Elliott. But yeah, I mean he won that race off of pit road strategy. So I mean Alan Gustafson has a lot of credit in that win. But yeah, I don't know. That's my 2 cents. But
Yeah, I completely agree.
alrighty, next prompt. Let's see what we got. Reddick slows down in the second half of the season. So Tyler Reddick now has won 4 races, picking up wins at um, Daytona, won the Daytona 500, and then he won at, let me see, hold on. He won at Atlanta, then at Circuit of the Americas, and he won last weekend at Darlington. Um, so he's got 4 wins. I honestly think, well, you know what? Later, you go first. Yeah, you go first. Actually, I'm not sure, so you go first.
Um, I, it's kind of tough. I'll say hit the gas. Just because I'm not like I think Reddick has had a great season so far, but also keep in mind that two of his wins were at super speedways.
Yeah.
So, like I still think he's had a lot of speed, but like I don't know, he kind of did eh, meet reality at Martinsville this week.
Yeah.
So, I don't really know. Like I don't know where his speed is going to be at going forward, but I think he could continue it, but I don't know. I'm not really feeling it personally.
Yeah, and like I know I always say this, always, but the first half of the season is very different from the second half. So I honestly think that like I look at this situation as similar to Christopher Bell last season. Um, Christopher Bell, I think he won like 4 races or 3 races out of the gate. I believe like early on in the season, and he he wasn't really like totally out there in the second half. I feel like he was consistent, but like he didn't. I don't know. It was just different from his performance in the first half. So I wonder if it's going to be similar to that. I mean, I could be wrong, but I feel like the first half is always different from the second half. So I am going to. Um, I'm definitely, I think, going to hit the gas on that. Anything else you want to add with Reddick?
No, I don't think so.
All right. All right. Our last prompt here. Oh, sorry. Screen went dark for a minute. Don't know why that happened. Last prompt here is Ty Gibbs wins a race this year. It would be his first career win in the NASCAR Cup Series. I am going to hit the gas. I feel like the last several weeks he's been pretty fast, and he's been pretty consistent as well with finishing in the top 10, sometimes in the top 5 as well. And I feel like even last year, I feel like he was fast more than not, like most of the year. So I feel like at some point he's going to get that first win. It's just a matter of where and when. At what point in the year will he get that win? And I mean, let me look at the points because I feel like he's not that far back in the points. Yeah, he's in 6th right now. He jumped 5 spots this week. So I mean, he's in a pretty good spot points wise. And he's not that far behind the leader. He's 131 back, but like when you really think about it, he's still got a lot of time to make up. But I think he's due for a win, so I think it's coming.
I agree. I would also hit the gas. I think he's had an amazing season. I don't know exactly where he would win at, but I do think a win is coming pretty soon for him.
Yeah. I'm definitely looking forward to where he gets his first win though, because I know that's going to be special for him because he's been working really hard to get to that point. So,
Yeah, I think it could be anywhere, honestly. He's
oh
shown
yeah,
speed just about everywhere, so
yeah. Um, all right. Well, that wraps up our hit the gas or pump the brakes. That was fun. Let's see. What do we got next here? All right. Let's talk about Iowa. So, how do we think the racing is going to be? Um, I feel like just off the bat, I think it's going to stretch out. I don't really think it's going to be a pack race. Just the times are really close to one another. Like people aren't really running super far off times, so you think it'd be close, but like I feel like it was that way with Richmond too. How it started with people practicing, and then during the actual race when everybody was racing together, it was just totally different environment. So I feel like it's going to get stretched out a little bit, but I don't know. What about you,
well,
Landon?
yeah. I mean, these lap times we're seeing are just fast laps. So
Yeah,
I mean, it might get be a little bit of a pack race at first, but I think as we get deeper into the run, it'll get spaced out because nobody's going to be running those times consistently over a 50 lap run. Um,
yeah,
it'll really it'll get spaced out over the long run. I feel like because tire wear is actually pretty noticeable at Iowa. So I think it'll really just come down to who can maintain their tires on the long run and who can keep the most speed in their car on the long run.
yeah. I fully agree. I honestly think too that like pit stops is going to be really interesting here because the way pit road operates is like the pit road is just very it's at like an awkward spot in the track. Um, the banking is like you have to get off of the banking in order to get on pit road. So you're gonna have to slow down like really early, I think, if you're pitting under green at least. But I'm looking forward to it. I think either way, it's going to be pretty exciting racing. You can see a car just wrecked by the start finish line there. Don't really know who that is. Can't make that out. But oh, okay, there's another crash.
And that is
Um,
Craigus and Land.
okay, they're just all crashing down there. Um, anywho, let me see here. Uh, do you want to touch a little bit on the D2 race a little more, and how kind of that went um, for you guys at least, and how Iowa raced for you guys?
Yeah, I mean, we can talk about it. I don't really know like how much stock to put into it since there was a lot of new guys racing. In my opinion, since we're not having dirty air at this track, we're in the no dirty air package. I really enjoyed it because we had a really fast car. I mean, we won the pole and we got wrecked a few times early in the race, and every time we would get sent to the back, we were able to um, make our way back to the front within a few laps without the dirty airs. So I think that is something to keep in mind for this the race on Friday, just because without dirty air, it's really going to make the fastest cars go to the front.
Yeah,
Regardless of if they get sent to the back or whatever happens. I mean, without dirty air, there's really nothing stopping fast cars from making up track position. So
yeah.
that was the biggest thing that stood out to me, I think. I think the racing was pretty good. Like, I thought it was pretty exciting, but I don't know how it looked from like a spectator's point of view.
Yeah, I mean, from what I saw, because again, I saw bits. It looked pretty fun. I think it'll translate over well with the Cup race this weekend. So I'm looking forward to seeing the action.
I agree.
Um, just to give a rundown of the race breakdown real quick. So the race will be taking place this Friday, on Good Friday, actually, and then it's going to be 180 laps. The stages are 50, 50, and 80, with practice kicking off at 8:15, qualifying to follow at 8:30. And 8:45 is the race. I would assume all those are Eastern Standard Time. So um, just be aware of the times and that the race is 180 laps. So it's going to be a pretty long race, but it should be very exciting as the drivers navigate this small, tight, knit tight track. So, all right, should we do race winner picks, or you know what? Let's do our rate the race, and then we can do race winner picks and then champion picks. Yeah, that works.
Sounds good to me.
All right, let's rate the race. I think I went first last week, so I'll let you go first if you want to.
Uh, I'll give Daytona like a 60. Um, I wasn't too big of a fan of it. But I mean, it wasn't terrible either. So I don't know, like an average 60%.
All right. Um, I'm gonna give it like, I don't know. I was very mixed, so just from a spectator standpoint, so I think I'll give it I'll give it a 50. I'll go a little lower. Um, just because there were some things that I think like went well from a spectator view, and some things that just were not enjoyable to watch. The finish was pretty rough too, so um, I think I'm gonna stick with a 50. Yeah, I think that's my lowest score actually of any race that I've rated this season. So not very good.
Yeah, it was not fun, in
Yeah,
my opinion.
it
I did
didn't
not
look
like it.
very enjoyable. Didn't look
I
very
mean, I know
enjoyable.
other people said they were having fun, but yeah, I was not having
Yeah.
fun.
Well, there's your rate the race. Let's move on to our race winner picks. Who you got for Iowa?
Oh, it's that's tough. Because I don't know. I'm gonna go with Parker. Just because in the D2 race, I had I really felt like I had an amazing car, and I built up a huge lead. But Parker caught up to me on the long run, and like we've talked about, it's going to come down to who's good on the long run and who executes in their on pit road. And I feel very confident that Parker's going to be good on the long run, because he really did. He chased me down, and um, he had to make a little contact with me to get me out of the way, but it wasn't anything dirty. I mean, it was a clean move. So Parker's got long run speed, so I'll go with Parker.
Okay. I'm gonna stick with Lego. Um, so I'm gonna go on the other side of the SSR camp. Um, I honestly feel good about Lego. He's in a good points position. Like he's not too low in points, and he's not without he's not out of reach within the leaders, the top two. So I feel like he can come into Iowa and have a good weekend. Um, I don't know what's going on in the chat, but um, I honestly feel really good. And Lego did win at Richmond, to be honest, too. So the short tracks may be to more of Lego's liking. Um, I honestly think that Lego probably has a better shot than most in the field. But again, it will have to kind of it will depend on how much practice he probably gets compared to some of the other drivers, and it'll just come down to what happens in the actual race. It's not can't really predict on what's going to happen. So it'll be interesting though.
Yeah, it there's just no telling with everybody running these lap times. I really wish we had more detailed lap time data because I'd be interested, like how NASCAR has the 10, 15, 20, 30 lap average. I'd be more
Yeah.
interested to see that than just seeing what people are running as their fastest time because it's kind of hard to go off of that.
Hmm.
I mean, like, yeah, that's good for qualifying, but like, what are you doing 15, 20, 30 laps into a run, you know?
Yeah.
Um, that's where the race is really going to be won. And we really just don't know. We have no way of telling that. So, yeah, I think Land's going to be really hungry to win this one, though. So,
He
I
definitely will be.
not
Yeah.
only because it's Iowa and he wants to keep that streak going, but also I really think he wants to start off the chase with some momentum. So, it'll be really interesting to watch.
Yeah, and I think too. I think honestly too. Oh man, I just forgot my thought. I just blanked. Um, I honestly think. Oh, what I was going to say. I think with it being a long race, I think there's a lot of opportunity. So anybody could have a really really good night. And 180 laps leaves the door for just the right amount of chaos. So to open up the chase, this is exactly what you'd expect, chaos. So it should be very interesting to see how everything unfolds.
Yeah, and I will say, with how much tire wear means here, it also opens the door, especially in the final stage, for teams to maybe try a two-stop strategy. Um, I mean, there's a lot of different things that are on the table here. I'll be interested to see like what direction people go, because tire fall off is It's about 5 to 6 tenths slower on old tires compared to fresh tires. So I really think it opens the door for a lot of strategy to take place. So maybe we'll see some alternate strategies, like maybe a two-stop strategy in the final stage or something like that. I I'll be really interested to see that because we really haven't had that opportunity at any tracks this season yet. But I think with the tire wear being what it is at Iowa, and with the long race, I think it really does give us a legit possibility to see something like that.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Um, all right. Shall we move into our champion picks?
Yep, let's go for it.
Okay. Should I go first? You want to go? You want to go first? I don't know how you want to
Um,
do this.
do you know who you're gonna pick yet?
To be honest, no. I'm kind
I
of
don't
going
either.
out on a limb, but like mine is I think more of a surprising pick, but I honestly think like
All right,
I'm not too sure
you
if I'm
go ahead.
confident in it. All right. I am gonna pick Lego. Um I just I think that team has performed really, really well this season. And I think coming into this season, they had the expectation that they were going to perform similar to how they have in past seasons. And they've gone above and beyond that. But they've also put in the work, I think, and that shows. And when it comes to these next few races that are coming up, I think he has a really good shot to win some of them. So and including this weekend, obviously too. I think he has a really good shot to win some of them, and he's not too far behind the other two. It wouldn't take much for Lander Craigus to make a mistake or get wrecked or make a mistake on pit road for them to lose a couple points. It wouldn't take much. 6 races, a lot can happen. So, I mean, I could be wrong, but I feel like I'm making a pretty good case for Lego winning his first championship. So,
Yeah, it's a good pick. I think the most realistic scenario is that one of the top three wins it.
yeah,
Um, I'm just gonna pick the obvious choice, and I'm gonna go with Land, just because I was thinking about picking Craigus, but like it just worries me like with some of the mistakes that they've made, like the pit decisions and things like that. Like, I mean, like I said, you really got to have 6 perfect races. And I would love to see Craigus win a championship, and I think he's more than capable of doing it. He has a great opportunity ahead of him, but um, it's just gonna have to be like 6 perfect weeks. So Land just doesn't make many mistakes.
yeah,
Very rarely do you see Land make a mistake on pit road or make the wrong call on pit road, or he doesn't really Land doesn't really like he doesn't make, I'm trying, like, desperate decisions. Like, he
yeah.
doesn't take 2 tires, or he doesn't do stuff like that. He pretty much just plays by the book. Like, he goes out there, does what he's supposed to do, and he wins races. I mean, that's just how Land's always been, and I think going into it, Land is the favorite. So, um, I'm just gonna go with Land.
All right, solid pick, solid pick. Um, I guess we'll have to wait and see. There anything else you want to talk about before we wrap up?
No, I don't think so. It'll be very exciting to see how this all plays out. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, for sure. I am looking forward to it as well. All right, well, that's going to do it from us here at the Money Stop. Be sure to tune in to Iowa, the Corn 400 this Friday. It's going to be 180 laps, as I said before, 50, 50, 80. Um, Practice kicking off at 8:15, qualifying at 8:30, and the race at 8:45. From the both of us here at the Money Stop, just want to wish you all a great week, and we will see you back here next week for another episode. We'll talk to you guys soon. Have a great night, y'all.
See you guys.